We're going to start with the civil fraud trial against Donald Trump. It is a case that could have major implications for his business empire here in New York. Right now, the former president is in court for closing arguments. Trump and his company are accused of inflating the value of their properties and assets in their financial documents. The New York Attorney General is calling for a $370 million fine. She also wants to ban him from the state's real estate industry. But Trump once again denied the accusations while speaking outside the courtroom just last hour.
Absolutely nothing done wrong. These were all great loans. The bank got the loans. They got paid. This is just an attorney general that hates Donald Trump. This is a case that should have never been brought, and I think we should be entitled to damages.
NBC News correspondent Rehema Ellis is live outside the courthouse in Manhattan. Rehema, thank you so much for joining us. So we just got word that Mr. Trump did speak inside the courtroom. The judge initially said he wouldn't allow it. What did Trump say, and what can we expect to hear from the Attorney General's office?
Well, you're right. The defense just wrapped up. It's gone to lunch. But before that, as you point out, Trump was able to make a statement. The judge said to him, I will allow you a few minutes if you will focus on the facts and not go outside. So from our reporter who is inside the courtroom, we're hearing Trump said the financial statements are perfect. The banks got all their money. They are happy. They were not defrauded. He goes on to say that the money is irrelevant. It is a small number. He says the legal scholars find this case disgraceful. And he says the amount of taxes I've paid over the period is over $300 million. They say, let's get rid of Trump because I ran for office. He goes on to say, I found nothing wrong. And he says, this is a persecution. At that point, the judge looks at his attorney and says, please control your client. Trump comes back and says, they wanted a directed verdict, Your Honor. I did nothing wrong. They should pay me for what I've gone through. She's trying to publicly run, to get publicity, run for office. And at that point, the judge says, thank you, Mr. Trump. And the defense portion of these closing arguments were finished with that, Vicki. At that point, again, it seems as though the judge was saying that the former president was going outside the boundaries of what he was allowed to say, and he was not allowed to talk about the lawyers, the legal aspect of the case, or to bring in any kind of politicking in this. And when he got to that point, he was told that his time was up. Vicki?
Rehema, there's so much at stake here, right? They're talking about this more than $300 million fine that the Attorney General is seeking, as well as the ability to ban Mr. Trump from having any real estate business here. Walk us through all of the things that are at stake in this case. And when do we expect the judge to rule?
Well, yeah, we expect the judge to rule. He said don't expect it today, but before the end of the month. And what's at stake is the very heart of what defines Donald Trump, and that is his real estate industry in this city where he is born in this city, a resident of New York City for most of his life. And now the very thing that he launched his career on, that is the real estate business, is at stake. The prosecution is asking for a $370 million fine and disgorgement if he doesn't have that cash on hand. That would mean he would have to sell some properties in order to satisfy the judgment. In addition, you think about it, this is his identity. So there is reason why he came into this court. There is a reason that he would want to testify to make his case that he should not be, as he calls it, punished for doing what he calls a lawful business. But the judge has already found that he was liable in the commission of fraud in the way that he conducted business in the real estate industry. Vicki?
All right, NBC News correspondent Rehema Ellis laying it out for us. Thank you so much.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or follow us on social media.